Quadratic equations are the first time in algebra that we tend to encounter this kind of weird, counterintuitive way of solving things. The answer here is D. Whenever we have an x squared, our algebra instinct changes. Normally, when we first learn algebra, we learn to move everything away from the x and get x by itself. But it doesn't really work when we have an x squared. Instead, we need to bring everything towards the x and make it equal to 0. So this is annoying, but this is just how this goes. Let me show you how we would do it here. First, I would add 11x to both sides and subtract 12 from both sides so that this side is equal to 0. And then on the left side, let's arrange this as a quadratic equation. X squared plus 11x minus 12 is equal to 0. And we do this because ultimately we want to factor and get two answers. Most of the time when we have a quadratic, we're going to get two answers to the equation. So remember, we need numbers that multiply to negative 12 and add to 11, and that's because the number in front of the x squared is equal to 1. If it was any other number, this would be more complicated, but luckily this is an easy situation for us, and so we can make these parentheses things. You've definitely done this in school. And the numbers that multiply to negative 12 and add to 11 are going to be positive 12 and negative 1. And we're still not done because remember, those aren't answers. Those are like mini equations that let us get the answers. So we have to set each of those equal to 0. And the shortcut you might remember is just that the correct answers will be the kind of reverse sign of whatever these factors are, right? So that's the key, is whenever we have an x squared, we're probably going to need to factor to find the solutions, the values of x. It's different from when we have regular old linear equations. That's how you learned algebra, but then the x squared comes along and we've got a little bit of a different process. So try to remember that. It might throw you off if you've got old habits that you're using for this new kind of situation.